Hi, welcome to the Heroes of IT podcast put on by Automox, a part of our autonomous IT series. This is a podcast where we interview our heroes of IT. Today we're on with Milton Webster. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I always like to start off these chats with just hearing, how did you get into the IT field?
Oh man, gotten into the IT field. I started with a company called Eli Lilly, and
Okay.
started with them in their hazmat shipping department. And this was in the early '90s. I'm dating myself right now. However, I had a good friend that was in the IT department that kind of took me under his wings, and they had a program where they say, hey, if you want to switch departments, if you want to do certain different things, here's your opportunity to do it now. And I took full advantage of it. And ever since I've been in this IT department, IT
And
world.
Yeah. Before that, were you very computer tech savvy, or was it completely net new to you and you're just ready to jump in head first?
At that time, coming out the Navy, we was playing with computers and doing certain different things here and there. So yeah, I was somewhat tech savvy. You know,
Okay. And why IT over any other department? Was it just because you had a friend there, or was there something else that drew you to the field?
I was the only thing that was really interesting to me, right? It was like, hey, there's gadgets, there's computers, it's the wave of the
Yeah.
future.
Mhm.
So it was that thing that I caught me that I wanted to be a part of.
Yeah, there's always something new in
Yeah,
IT, it feels
yeah,
like.
that's
So keeps you on
absolutely.
your toes for sure. Okay, well, why don't we go into how you use Autobox?
So we have several sites, and one of our biggest challenges was updating machines. We were doing annual um, reviews and finding out that, hey, we are behind. Our risk score was high, and we didn't have anything to kind of stay on top of what was going on. And entered Automox. One of our affiliates was using it, and it was raving of how well Automox was doing for them, where they don't even check uh, constantly to see where we're at. And now Automox is doing this thing in its background, and we had to become a part of it. I mean, we was just seeing what it was doing, and uh, you know, we wanted to be a part of it. We wanted to catch up. The catch up game, we were so far behind. Uh,
I wouldn't consider you at all behind, honestly. I mean, I talk to a lot of customers, I talk to prospects,
yes,
and it feels like everyone's kind of in the same boat at the moment of this is the reality that a lot of people are dealing with. Like, how do we get ahead of it? So you guys definitely are not alone in that. And
yeah,
I also think it's nice when you get like a recommendation from a
yes,
friend,
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's like going to like the new restaurant around the corner versus like trying something net new and you're like, oh, I don't know how this one's gonna go. Um, so that's always nice too.
Yeah, yeah.
And when you say you use, Automox to reduce your risk score and, get ahead of things, for people who may not use Automox or, are just kind of testing it out, can you go into detail about, what that looks like for your team and like what specifically you use Automox for in your
Okay.
endpoints?
So what we have is another device, another application called Rapid7, and
Mhm.
it's constantly going out and coming back with scores on these endpoints. So if you put out a new laptop, new desktop, um, the risk score is going to be high. It's going to come close to a million. Right? With Rapid7, from the time that desktop laptop hits the network, it is pushing. Next morning, that score is normalized like under 1,000, right? So things that we want to see that we didn't even realize that was happening, that we took for granted, uh, was slowing us down. Uh, when we look at the risk score throughout our site, we was averaging in the millions per machine. Now we're averaging like under 50,000 easily. One of the key things that we did too, we had a lot of machines that were Windows 10, and we didn't necessarily want to go around and do the update manually.
Yeah.
So we saw that you guys had a worklet, and we jumped on the Windows 11 upgrade, imported our ISO, and the next thing we know, we had machines that was updating. Like we didn't believe that this was going to work, right? From something that was just supposed to do updates only. Uh, the tool is strong. We're finding that out more and more. Once we got the remote tool set up as well, we're going to cancel. I'm not going to say that name, but we're going to cancel um, their tool, and we're going to strictly just use what you guys are offering. So another key thing. I know you wanted me to go a little bit more in depth into the score, but I hit three things, like just
Yeah.
thinking of what
No,
Automox
for
has
sure.
done for us. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because Automox can do, I mean, we can do like the bare bones, right? Like if you
Yes.
just want a patch, we can do that. If you want to go a little bit more into depth, we can do that too. And that's where
Yes.
we really start to get excited.
Yeah.
For those of you who are listening and ears might have perked up at the word worklet, those are our scripts at scale. So PowerShell or Bash, depending on what operating system you're using. What worklets do is they allow you to automate a set action or a couple of actions. And that way it's always on in your environment, pushing, looking for things. So, for example, that can be updating Windows 10, that can be, recalling a software if people have like a weird version of Notepad++ on their computers, we can take it off. But that way, you're not having to go out and like look for things constantly. You can have things running in the background.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, this month's theme on Automox podcasts is balancing experiences, so your end users and yours. I'd love to get your take on how do you balance keeping your end user happy, especially when you might have, a few patches or reboots coming up.
Yes. Yes. It's a culture change. First thing off, right? Because you go from users that will have 20 applications open, right? Excel, 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 and ask them to do a reboot is a tough thing. So we created this thing internally called um, Wednesday's Reboot, uh, right? And we have it all throughout our digital signage. And we are blinking it, and we are scrolling it through, and we're making it like a big thing, right? Uh, and it took a while for it to hit, but now we don't have any complaints. We could have 2 or 3 reboots in one day, and people kind of get it, right? We're securing our endpoints. We're going the extra mile. However, at first there was emails coming in like, "Hey, what's going on? What's this little thing?" Even though we send out notifications, so it was a culture change, and it's a welcome culture change. Um, and I think your agents that you guys have been updating
Mm-hmm.
is needed, right? Like, okay, now they're getting information that says um, a restart is required. Before, I think initially it was more of okay, you missed 3 times, we're just going to do a restart. And
Yeah.
now it's more intuitive. They're knowing that it's happening. They have a chance to shut down their machine. They have the options. It could happen at 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock tonight, but at least it's informative.
Yeah, for sure. And for those of you who may not have Automox deployed across a lot of endpoints, what Milton is talking about is our Automox tray. So that's our enhanced notification system. And that's going to tell your end user, a reboot is needed. And then it gives them a little bit more information into timing and when they can do it and when their deadline is versus just telling someone, you got to do it now, or
Correct.
maybe they push it off 2 times and then they're forced into a reboot, which is always kind of a jarring experience.
Yes. Yes. My director said, his sleep score, you know, was reduced, and like he was like he was up. He was thinking about these risks that
Yeah.
could potentially happen, right?
Yeah.
So now he's like, man, the score comes back, and I'm sleeping more comfortably. I'm not worried about this thing because this was a big deal for us. We're
Yeah.
going through all the changes that we're doing right now with our security. We didn't want to have to go to leadership and be like, here's where we're at. We fixed it. Automox is a great help because we're constantly, I don't think we have any updates that's like 6 months out or 3 months out. I think we're in the 2 to 3 weeks of one or two devices not getting updates because they're offline or it's off somewhere. So if we have anything that's out of date, it's like 7 days, 6 days.
Mhm.
And that's great, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I love that. If it's an Aura ring, which I also have an Aura ring,
Yeah,
I know you can like
he
tag
does.
experiences like, oh, I was traveling, or oh, I had a cold, or something like that. We should create a tag that's we started Automox on this day, and
Say,
we can
right.
see how our sleep score is improved, our
Yes,
readiness is good. That's really funny. But
yes,
that's an awesome thing to notice.
yes,
But yeah, I think at least for end users, I mean, I'm also an end user of Automox, right? Like I don't work
right,
in our IT department, although the Automox IT department is great. Uh, but I know I like to have it be like the last thing that I do in my day. Like
correct.
it's maybe 10 minutes before I sign off for the day. And typically I'd be writing out my list of like, what do I want to get accomplished the next day? And if there's like a reboot going on in the background when I do that, like that's perfect for me because I don't
Absolutely.
need to be actively using
Hmm.
a Zoom or an internet browser or like our internal communications. Like I don't need to be doing any of that. But if it's the last 10 minutes of my day, like sure, maybe I log off 10 minutes
Correct.
early. No, if
Yeah,
you're my boss, don't listen to that. But I think there are very easy ways to incorporate it into people's day to day. So that way it's not in the middle of your one on one with your manager.
correct, correct. And we had some of those, and those things we had to adjust, and
Yeah.
we were new to it ourselves. So once we figured those things out, those things went away, and it was more focused on, hey, before or after work, let's try to reboot. Let's
Yeah.
just try to get in there.
For sure. And then I also think it helps drawing attention to if there's anything that's like an immediate vulnerability, like knock on wood, a log4j or something like that, something crazy where it's like, no, actually we do need you to reboot this ASAP. It also kind of helps educate your end user as well. Like, no, this
Correct.
I swear it's important. Trust me on this one.
That's right. Yeah,
Great. Well, this has been an awesome conversation. Thank you so much for joining us today.
absolutely.
It's been
Thank
really
you.
great to hear your perspectives.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, for those of you listening, we put out podcasts. Automox puts out podcasts every Tuesday and Thursday across a wide variety of topics, whether that's Patch Tuesday or our CISO IT podcast. You can find us wherever you like to listen to your pods.